exactly why the Deagle denials are irrelevant. That's why the Rand Corporation is behind basically telling the elite how it's going to play out. So I want to say one thing, Alex. Of everything I've ever done, all the years I've been on talk radio, writing books, I think I'm on my 12th book coming up. I'm going to release it. I'll let it be known what that is in a couple weeks. But the thing that's so important is that the globalists hate humanity because they're Luciferians, and the whole idea of creating artificially intelligent machines or artilects is to get rid of human beings. And in my book, I got to say this: the most important thing I've ever written. If you've ever read anything I've written, my book Xenogenesis is so critical, and it's changing people because, Alex, again, you've given puzzle pieces, I've given puzzle pieces. And the puzzle pieces, when people finally see all the pieces fitting together, that's when they start to take note, and that's when they'll start to take action. And I'm telling everybody, the puzzle pieces are all together now, and that's why when we're talking about 90% extermination of the human race, that's why when we're talking about the Georgia Guidestones, look, the Georgia Guidestones is nothing more than a granite writ of execution.
And by the way, I want to be clear here and then go to some phone calls, but at the bottom of the hour, let's get into the robot takeover. We can show all the new articles admitting they've already made the decision to get rid of humans. We're not just obsolete. We're now dead weight. It's not us. It's Bill Joy. It is Ray Kurzweil. It's the UN. The decision has been made to get rid of us. And even Fortune magazine and the London Telegraph now have headlines like I put in the film Endgame 7 years ago. The elite have decided to kill us because they're going to merge with machines and live forever. Meanwhile,
Absolutely.
Stephen Hawking warns the plan is to get rid of us. So, folks, what we're telling you is not our opinion. The elite that are almost in control of the planet right now, they're in control of most of it, openly say their plan is to put a high-tech grid and to spy on us, have robots replace us at all the factories where robots work on robots, so there's no escape. Then they're going to start releasing mega plagues. Then they're going to turn the robots loose to hunt us down. And this is not Terminator, folks. This is their real plan. Now, this is insane. If I wrote a book about my plan, this is hypothetical, to say attack FBI headquarters, which I would never do, wish no harm upon them, just to people like us, I would expect to be investigated and probably arrested if I wrote a serious book about my plan to do it. The globalists have all written treatises and are talking about their plan, and we're watching it all unfold. That's what we're telling you. So we're trying to shake you out of your trance. We're trying to break the literal spell. Steve Quayle.
Well, and thank you, Alex, because I don't think I can be any more impassioned than your plea. I can tell you point blank that when people finally get this, and you mentioned Bill Joy. For the record, I think you listened to my broadcast. When he first came out with that treatise, it's called Why the World Doesn't Need Us Anymore. And the point is that he was the head of Sun Microsystems, probably the most important blueprint for the future. And I want people to understand this. The research and this is like what you do, but the research I put into Xenogenesis is absolutely groundbreaking. This is not crazy stuff. I was looking at Drudge the other day, I think it was yesterday, and you probably saw it too. Now they're basically putting forth their sex bots, okay, SEXBOTS, and the reason they're pushing that is for the humans. They want to control population. It's a techno form of birth control. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can get my book Xenogenesis on my website. It's that important, Alex. It's that is the, if you will, cumulative effect of 24 years of writing, and it's only available on my website. So please, it's that critical. Alex, if people cannot recognize that, everything else fails in comparison, and they're ready to initiate that now, the Super Soldier program. You and I did a whole show on that years ago.
They now admit it all. I'm going to skip this network break. We're going to talk more about this coming up because I want to go to John and Jerry and Margaret that have been holding the longest. John in New York, what do you see coming up in 2015, or any questions for Steve Quayle?
Yeah, hi. I really appreciate your show. It's wonderful, but obviously, as Steve Quayle said, we have to be sober and realize that, info isn't always enough. especially at this point. And another caller pointed that out, the importance of spirituality. And I was trying to call yesterday about the police, but childhood friend of mine, who's a journalist, posted this about especially in Cleveland, where the union defended these cops they were trying to fire. The National Federal Union defended these cops they're trying to fire. Then when they keep doing bad things, who gets in trouble is the local precinct. And so I think that's the problem, the systemic problem that something's got to change there.
Yeah, I want to get Steve Quayle's take on that because I've broken down how I see it. We know it's divide and conquer. Obviously, the police are doing a lot of bad stuff. But when you see mainstream media pushing a war on police, what is the dialectic there? What's the master plan in that?
Well, it's to destroy all trust, Alex. It's to destroy all hope. Again, it's to discourage, because most people have never taken two things seriously: personal accountability and personal responsibility, okay? And now, what we've been talking about, every ad you run, and let me make it clear, you're a sponsor for the bulletproof vests, body armor. People should run to that because they're already proposing legislation to make that illegal. I just posted, and this is critical because it goes right along with what your sponsor's doing. The point being is that I posted a raffle on my website today for a urban escape vehicle, a bulletproof vehicle, made in Texas, by the way. And the guy that bought it sold to me because he upgraded. And people don't know this, but I've been in the survival business. But the high dollar people, the clients that are out there, these guys all have armored cars. So for $100, a real quick ploy or a real quick pitch, you know, they can get a 300 tickets, $100,000 vehicle. That's what it costs to replace it. But what I'm saying, Alex, is the people that I know who know it's coming, who are living, even in Texas, living in the most important, or even some of the most far removed areas from the big cities, are acquiring this because they're already getting prepared.
No, I know. I've been contacted a lot by some of the big factories that produce the armored cars down in San Antonio that, you know, look like Suburbans, look like normal trucks, is that the elites are just have been buying them like hotcakes. Again, what is all that about, Steve Quayle?
Well, first of all, the idea, and by the way, I have a long-standing relationship with Texas Armoring, and been buying their stuff and brokering their vehicles for a long time. But you'll see them on TV all the time. But the reason that it's expanding and increasing is high-value targets are going to be caught in the city. We watched Ferguson explode before our eyes, and for the record, a normal automobile provides no protection against, a firearm. Same thing. Look at this. It's being proposed that body armor be illegal to the citizens, just like firearms. Well, I don't know what everyone else's red line is, but you got to know, if they want the guns that bad, ask yourself a simple question. Fast and Furious, yes. Second Amendment rights, no. Ask yourself this: who's funding the gangs? Ask yourself, who's providing them with heavy weaponry? That's a mouthful. The point being, Alex, is not only is Civil War planned, not only is Civil War funded, not only are there foreign troops in here to mop up, quote, the Patriots, whatever they want to call, but this is all being done on an accelerated basis. I see the current state of police assassinations as the key point. And by the way, you have a lot of law enforcement officers who listen to you. I do too. I remember telling them 4 years ago, be careful. There are traitors in our government that are making known where you guys work, where your wives work, their schedules, where your children go to school. And did you see the story just last week? The police are now being informed of everything you and I were talking about 4 years ago. And, Alex, they didn't take us seriously then. They do now, my guess is.
Well, obviously, if there's a globalist criminal takeover, they're going to go after everybody who's good. And they're keeping tabs on everybody. They know who's moral. They know who won't play ball. But then, first they'll take them out. Then they'll take out the group that helped take them out. And then they'll consolidate power. This always is done. And, Steve, give me your take on this. Why, historically, whether it's the Soviets or the Chi-Coms or the Nazis or any other tyranny throughout history, they always take out the good guys first in the government. Then they take out those that took them out.
Well, it's easy because, first of all, they take out the good guys because even Jesus said we're the salt of the world and the light of the world. salt of the earth and the light of the world. So they want Christians. Now, look, Alex, and this is critical. Christians are being murdered by the millions worldwide, and not one word from the White House. And I'm saying this, listen, the plan of the globalists is to pit everybody against everybody. I get people saying, well, World War III and Albert Pike's vision isn't true. Well, if it isn't true, somebody thought it was true because they're following that plan. Just, ladies and gentlemen, do an internet search for Albert Pike, World War III. It'll give you the whole background. The point is...
Well, I'll tell you what, let's get into that in the next segment, because I mean, that's something important to talk about as well.
Right, but let's just say this. The reason they take out the facilitators is because they know that those people betrayed the very people that put that, that basically funded them, and they don't want the betrayal carrying through to the new government. Make sense? They know anybody who's a traitor will also at some point probably turn against them. That's the reason they kill the second group.
With a vengeance.
With a vengeance.
The second round of killing is always bigger than the first.
Absolutely. Once the blood starts, it doesn't stop. And unfortunately, the blood is going to flow. And just look at this. Look at all of this was never a problem. At least, the terrorists supposedly coming in the country. Now you have the vilification of good, and you have the verification of that which is bad. The mainstream media, I want to say this, anybody that listens to them is under the mind control. It's just like, by the way, scopolamine, one of the drugs that's called devil's breath, along with zombie dust, which is the burundanga, a chemical. These things are real. And I'm beginning to think, Alex, that there's more of the chemicals, the mind-altering psychotropic drug residue now being put into the chemtrails, and you've probably been following that too. I'm not trying to divest from the subject, but I'm just saying this. I have noticed that the planes are flying lower and lower. I'm in the air a lot. I take a lot of aerial photographs. I fly a lot. The point being is that I'm noticing where you used to see them at 32,000 feet, now they're getting down as low as 1,500 feet.
Well, we know there's geoengineering going on big time. Let's take a phone call. Jerry in Georgia, thanks for holding. You're a trooper. You're on the air with Steve Quayle.
Hi, Alex. Both you and your guest have talked about how they brag about what they're going to do to us before they do it with predictive programming.
Yes.
And I think that we'll see what's going to happen. Just like last Thursday night on Elementary on CBS, a man walked up to a police car and shot a cop dead. And then 2 days later, it happens in New York City.
Well, yeah, that's what I call basic mind control. They hype that enough and just show it on TV. Mentally ill people will go out, highly suggestible, and do it on their own.
Absolutely, and they're going to show us what they have coming down the pike, and it'll be right in front of us if we watch. If we start seeing enough main primetime shows showing...
Well, you notice almost every cop show, adventure show, whatever, has patriots nuking cities or blowing things up. They're getting everybody ready, so when it happens, because it wasn't happening before, people go, oh, yeah, that seems right, because we've already been pre-demonized. That shows their pre-preparation targeting. They laze you with propaganda first before they drop real bombs on you, and that's what I see happening. I want the caller to be able to finish up, but Steve Quayle, your take on predictive programming.
Well, it's not only predictive programming, okay? It's basically rubbing your nose, my nose, our noses in the very fact that they are mocking us, that we're not even bright enough. Remember, the elite believe they're elite in intellectual prowess, too.
It's lesser magic in their own words. They need to manifest it as a model first in front of us. It's a metaphysical rule as well, that it's like counting coup, like a Native American would mock kill you 2 or 3 times in combat before they actually killed you. They believe it adds to the mojo to symbolically do it before they actually do it.
Absolutely, and again, it gets back, it's truly called ritual magic, okay? And the reason it's ritual magic is, and I actually believe this, and Alex, the reason I go to the Bible when, for instance, in the book of Hosea, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. God doesn't want his people destroyed. The whole basis of prophecy is telling you what's going to be, coming in the future.
It's a warning. You're given the blueprint.
You're given the blueprint. And so the thing is that, ladies and gentlemen, when they lay it out, when people say, what can they do? Notice this.
Stay there. We got a break. You'll come right back to you, Stephen. Let Jerry finish. Then we'll go to everybody else that's patiently holding. So stay with us.
We're on the march. The